Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We want to welcome you to another episode of About You podcast. It's been a minute since we've been back on. I think our last show was Father's Day, but we're super excited today to have another episode of this show. We ask you to invite someone, share the show, and grab your water. It's going to be another fascinating one. So invite someone. We're going to play some music and then we'll be right back with your right.
Tell me where we gonna run go. When them say we have to pay for the oxygen we breathe. Answer me now, Mr. Big Man. You know to say everybody want to go and go off for it. A simple life. It's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love and give me shelter. Simple life. It's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love and give me shelter. Yeah, wanna hear me please. This is when you sing me, I sing from the deep. Down in me, I tell me I feel like the weep. Well, if I think I go on where the people can't sleep, but the burn it and become your self-esteem. You are the one to make life easy, same you are make it harder. And there is nowhere to scatter. Tell me where we gonna run go. After making our motherland a better place to live. Tell me where we gonna run go. When them say we have to pay for the oxygen we breathe. Answer me now, Mr. Big Man. You know to say everybody want to go and go off for it. A simple life. It's all we want to live. Give me food, give me clothes, give me love and give me shelter. Simple life.
All right. Invite someone, share the show. We've got to jump right into it. It's going to be another fascinating one. Again, my name is Telvina Cole. Most people know me by Telvina. I take it all. Ayiti, are you able to share the show on your page? Did you get the alert?
Let me see here on my Facebook page.
Yeah. You should have gotten an alert when the show started to say, do you want to live stream this on your page? If not, yeah.
Okay.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then so you can just correct it, and then your audience can see it while we're going.
Okay.
So, like I said, today I am honored to have Mr. Charles Ayiti Williams and another advocate for youth empowerment. Little bit about Mr. Williams. He is the founder and the host of WE2R Liberian movement. His goal is to condition the minds of people. And let me find my notes here so I can really get into it. Yeah. But really recondition the minds of people and empower people most of all. And so he's going to tell it all. Super excited to have him. He's going to talk about his journey. He's going to talk about his untold story. So I am super excited. I ask you all to welcome Mr. Williams here this evening. Invite someone, like I said. Like I said earlier, he's dedicated to empowering youth and transforming the global mindset of Liberians. He's a passionate motivational speaker. And he's going to talk about himself, and he loves to MC too. And then aside of him, so he's going to tell it all. He likes to, just help people. He's passionate about Liberia most of all, and so he's going to tell it all. So before we go into it, Ayiti, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
My name is Ayiti Williams. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Telly, for having me on tonight. It's a great opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be able to share time and space with you on this particular day, especially being on the most talk about you. Never even heard of it. As I was talking today, I'm like, I saw the logo. I never really thought about it, but just talking to you in the back there, it speaks to the core, in the synthesis of what you do too. But to give you a little background about myself, you see, Ayiti Williams is my name, but you call me Charles Ayiti Williams. Like you said, I'm the founder and the visionary of the WE2R Liberians movement. Not only the movement, but also the platform that speaks to and for the masses. We're certainly not in the business. Usually I would say that on my show of manufacturing players, pimps and hustlers. Rather, we're in the business of changing and revolutionizing the thought process of our people, not only in Liberia, not only locally in Liberia, but even around the world. That's globally. I think I want to take it a little bit further by, stating what our mission is. We are dedicated to empowering the socially and morally conscious youth. Our platform aims to educate and cultivate young men and women who are, passionate about addressing the injustices and hardship of society. We also seek individuals who are ready to take responsibility and work toward making a positive change. Then I'd like to take a little bit a step further also by talking about our vision. We aspire to be the premier movement of the 21st century, setting the standard for our counterparts. That's just a little bit about us. And, I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll have people viewing us tonight just to know about what we stand for. I believe our mission and our vision speaks to, just the subject. And hopefully tonight I can be able to say more based on the questions and my responses. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Something you said in your introduction, I wanted you to elaborate more about it. You said you guys are not in the business. They're not the movement is not in the business of manufacturing pimps and hustlers. Yeah. And I laughed about it, but I really want you to expand more about it.
Well, particularly about it has to do with Liberia. I believe strongly the situation like Liberia is faced with is far from politics. Usually, I would say the problem that we have is deeply rooted in the quality of people that the country has produced over the years. And so, me growing up and seeing Liberia prior to the Civil War and seeing what Liberia is now, the country has been in the business of actually, manufacturing players, because the individuals that we produce, they're about themselves, they're about showing off, they're about what they drive, what they wear. So that's why we say that not in the business of actually manufacturing players, pimps and hustlers, because these people are really pimps, they're hustlers, they're about riding the best car, about building the nicest house, so to speak, and just they're all about themselves. But we're talking about people, for example, Liberia have never produced a Nelson Mandela. Liberia have never produced a Thomas Sankara. Liberia have never produced a Kwame Nkrumah. So we say that because we want to make sure that this new Liberia that we're about to talk about, that we're talking about, or we aspire to see, we want to make sure we are producing a better quality of individuals. So that's exactly the background that we come from, and that's why we have that little slogan, so to speak.
So how did the idea come about to form the movement?
So that's a great question. Thank you for saying that. Again, politics is something that I'm very, very far from, and I'm very passionate about Liberia. I want to see Liberia become better, and just by growing up, I came from a background where I felt as though, to some extent, I was disenfranchised in some way, shape, or form, and I grew up, just in an environment where I had to a large extent, no mentor, never had an elder brother that I could look up to as a role model, and so. Leaving Liberia, that would be something we'll talk about maybe in the latter part of the interview here. I saw the life that children, some of my siblings, some relatives, what they lived, how they lived, and I wanted to make sure to kind of participate. But I'm not a guy who is skewed towards politics, so I thought that the way I could do it, and just looking at the political side, we've not had the opportunity to see any change. So I thought that I think personally that the problem Liberia has to do with the mindset of the individuals. So how can we, if we want to contribute to make change in the country, maybe we'll have to start with the mindset, because I believe that if we can change the mindsets of our people, then we'll be able to change the things around them. And so I really sat down, was thinking about how can I contribute, how can I come up with some kind of solution to the problem. I thought that the only way to do it was to kind of tap into the philosophy and the mindset of the people. And that's how this whole movement came about. And it's funny how it started, because I had to think about it, because I'm not a talker. I'm not, I don't know how to talk, to be honest. I would say that people say, oh, I think you do talk. And this one day, it was about, I said, I'm going to do it. So I went on Facebook. First of all, I pinned something on Facebook that I was going live for the first time. And on my way to work, I sat in my truck. I just started out, and it was strategic, because I think it came to me as a more like a vision, and or how do I even a vision. So when I got in the truck, I'm thinking, start from the knowledge of self. It came that way, because I feel as though the book says that so a man see himself, so is he. What we think of ourselves is actually who we become. That's the product we will become. So if we can start with the psyche of the people, we can start with the mindset of the people, then eventually we'll be able to pivot from where we are now, to the other side, and change the things around us. So that's how this whole thing came about. And then the name, I was thinking about, I lived, I'm in the diaspora, and we have people living in Liberia locally. So I wanted to kind of bridge the gap. I have no political side. I do not, segregate, or I don't pick sides. So I wanted to make sure that the way to bridge the gap is to kind of target people here and target people in Liberia, all over the world. And one thing, we also have to understand here is that we're citizens of the world. It's just that we find Africa was demarcated in the 1800s by a group of Europeans. So we are one people, even though we find ourselves there. So I thought that, just kind of having the name We2, whether you're disabled, whether you are part of the elite, you find yourself as being an impoverished neighborhood, you're a Liberian. So we too are Liberians, despite of your economic, your social status, and all that stuff. That's how this whole thing, that's why.
I love it. I love it. Very interesting. So you repeatedly talk about, one of the goals is to revolutionize and condition or change the thought process of our people globally. So how you tend to go about it? I know you do a lot of podcasting, or YouTubing, or Facebooking, whatever we want to call it, but what other ways do you tend to go about that?
So that's a great question. In the first place, I have not been sociable. I was one of the guys who say, I'm done with Liberian people. I'm not going to the function, this and that. So I thought the way to do it in the first place, we have a lot of programs around. So let's start some kind of outreach. In fact, when I first started, I called people before, when I did the second show. So I started calling people. And it was funny, because the first 2-3 videos kind of gained some kind of traction. So people commented, and then I went ahead and started calling people to talk about the movement, my idea, my ideology. And, you know how people are, like, oh yeah, we like what you're doing. We'll kind of come around, this and that. Some people told me, Ayiti, you're wasting your time because Liberia will never change. But I had this conviction, and I say, what, regardless, the book says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I don't have to see it. I feel this thing in me. I have this conviction. So I'm going to go there. I'm just going to keep talking. And then especially sometime last year, somewhere around July, I believe the latter part of July, I started doing this thing. And I say, I'm just going to keep at it. And then when I see people in the street, they say, oh, yeah, we like what you're doing, call me, or the teacher, the this and that, and as we got closer to elections, I feel as though our people sold out. I'm talking about the people that actually vote these people into office. Because the same thing, we'll talk about some of those things. How can they know? You don't know. The man is, you voting this man into office because he helped maybe one of your neighbors or he helped your kid. But what's about the masses? You got 500 children living in your neighborhood, but he helps only one kid or two kids. And you say, oh, he's nice to you. No, it's at your expense. So we want everybody to be a part of it. I hope I'm not diverting a little bit, but I
No,
kind
no,
of,
no,
yeah,
no, you're good.
So I thought that no, everybody should have a seat at the table. This national cake, we all should be able to eat it. Not one group of people. So don't allow them to use you when they get ready. To go for election. They play around. And the money that they're giving you, that's your money because it's the country money. The country's money. It's a national cake. We all should have access to it. And that's my thing. How many bedrooms can you sleep in as an individual? How many cars can you drive? Those are the things that I was thinking about, and I always think about. I don't think I need to have $1 million in my account when you have my neighbor right here that's like he can't even afford $100 or maybe $1. Well, then who am I? So we'll talk about the concept of I am because we are. So those are the things that constantly ring in my head or runs in my head every day and night, and I say, you know what? No, we have to go out there. We have to say something, and we have to talk about it. So the people that, like I said, some people believe it, but it's just lip service. Oh, I would like what you're doing this, that. And some people are like, oh, my man, it's not going to happen. You're wasting your time. And I believed it. If we get to the point where we'll have to talk about how we got to this place, how this whole conversation, how we now having it, we will talk about it. But that's how I hope I'm answering the question. I'm a little amped up, and that's how that the whole thing. Now, I believe you asked the question as to how I intend to change the thought process of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, the book says that faith comes by hearing. The more they hear, the more it will resonate. Eventually, now it will become a part of it. I know people who I talk to, and they tell me to say, I don't want to have a conversation with you because when we talk to you, you get off the phone, my mind goes crazy. So I'm talking about older people. We just had a conversation last week, and he was asking me about the same thing, the mission, the vision, because I shared it with him, the work that you did. And he started asking me as I respond to the questions that he asked. He said, you got it, but we can't continue this conversation because I don't want you to mess my head up. So I believe strongly, the more, and then think about it, the culture that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I am fostering the concept of I am, because I think the last time behind the scene, I talk about the story of Domitian. If you read the book of Revelation, Domitian was the last of a Flavian dynasty. After the death of his father, he his brother actually was supposed to be he was supposed to succeed his father, but that brother passed away. So Domitian now is emperor, but he came out with all this decree. Anyone who did not believe or adhere to the teaching of Domitian, what he did was he would exile you from the Greco-Roman Empire. And the Greco-Roman Empire at the time was more like the United States or the United Kingdom. But it took one person. Can you imagine that one person? And this is what we're saying. So now we'll give you the picture of how I am determined. I believe strongly that Liberia will change. Even if I'm not around, I'm not alive to be here to see Liberia change. I know we will set the blueprint, we'll set the pace, and somebody will come and walk into it. You know what I mean? Who would have ever thought that America would have a black president? America now have a black president. In 1957, who would ever thought that a young man named Kwame Nkrumah, will emerge, to liberate his country? Asian Ghana became a Ghana, and we see now Ghana is an example on the continent. So I do believe, I believe strongly if we, someone once said that the distance between doubt and destiny is action. So we just got to keep working at it. We got to keep working at it. It's like gravity, It's going to happen. And the more we keep saying it, the more we keep with these little programs, there will be other programs that we intend to initiate. So we have our calendar events coming up. But what we want to do now, we want to work with existing organizations that already have. They're already doing the work. We want to support their vision. If they align with our vision, we want to make sure that we support them until we can begin to do something independent. So like this past weekend, the movement actually attended a drug violent, I believe, in gun violence or drug addiction awareness walk. So we were there, we supported them. The next day we went for a beauty pageant that they had, called a minority center. So we were there, we supported it. And that's what we want. Besides that, I represented the WE2R movement as a guest speaker at an elementary school. And this school is in Liberia. Somebody was like, "Oh, Liberia, you going to go and speak to the people?" Those are the people I want to talk to. I want to talk to the people that are down there. And the strategy here is to actually identify, like I said, the socially and morally, even if it is 20 young kids, maybe 5 or 6 years old, those are the kids that I want to target now. And then pitch the idea and the ideology. Then we can have a whole school, because we have a generation that's going to graduate, and maybe even if they want to go to college, they're moving into college with this ideology of I am because we are. The WE2R culture for fostering, the idea of I am because we are. I'm only doing good if you're doing good. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Let me just I'll stop for a little bit, and so that you send my way more questions.
No. I mean, you just ran right into it. I was going because I read something on your page about the WE2R culture, and so and I read fostering the concept of I am because we are. You kind of talk about it, but I want you to talk more about I'm only doing good if you are doing good.
Okay, so now I'll go back to it, because I thought that I was talking too much, right? And I didn't end the story of John, who of Domitian, who was the emperor of the Greco-Roman Empire. So he came out with these decree that anyone who did not adhere to his teaching, he would exile you to an island called Patmos. So while he was doing that, he was disenfranchising these people, an interesting gentleman by the name of John came on the scene. A young man. He was only 17 years old. While everybody was bowing down to this man, John said, "No, I'm not going to bow down to his decree." So when immigration officers and other people saw that John was being defiant, and that's civil disobedience, you know what I mean? So they decided to let Domitian know that we got this one kid who is not adhering to your teaching. And so Domitian said, "You'll bring him," and told John that you were no longer welcome to this empire. Decided to send him off to an island called Patmos. And like I said in the lecture that we had back there, maybe a couple of days ago, on that particular isle of Patmos was a place of economic and social life. Nothing. I mean, I'm telling you, you go in there, you can't survive it. You're going to die. But because of John's conviction and belief, he was not doing it for himself. He had heard of the Kurusan, the Evangelion, the good news of Jesus Christ, understood the concept of I am because we are, you know what I mean? And said, me knowing that this is not about me, it's about the entire, Maya Angelou said something. She said, "Every time you see me, I come as one, but I stand as thousands." So every time you see yourself, you represent a constituent of people, generation that's going to come after you. And that was what John saw. And because of what John did, God gave John a revelation. After God saw that John had gone through a process, John was able to regurgitate everything that God told John. John was able to give it to the people of Asia, and because of that, those people were emancipated. So it has to come from a place of conviction. Believe it. You alone have the ability and the propensity to change a whole generation because of your thought process. And this is what we believe strongly, that we are willing to die for this. You know what I mean? Jesus left 2,000 years ago. We're still talking about it. Dr. King gone. You know what I mean? I can go to a white school now. We got black and white going to the same school. We can go to the same shopping center, even though we're not really we don't really have equity, but at least it's happening. So having said that, we believe strongly that with the concept of I am because we are, this culture, fostering this culture of I am because we are. I'm only doing good because you're doing good. People hearing it, and we start acting it. What I have, I can share with one kid. I gotta have a piece of shoes or something, some kind of shirt. Let me share with my brother. How many pair of shoes do I need in my closet? How many clothes do I need? Wearing Gucci with the best car, and then see my brother. Even with the churches, go to the church right now. They got glass window, and the people next to them don't even have food to eat. So what kind of life is that? So we need to foster. We need to push this concept of I am. And that's where the concept of I am because we are came from.
Wow, that's a powerful one. I am because we are. Ooh, I'm taking that with me. Yeah, still on the on the movement. Tell us more. Is the movement registered here in Liberia? Is it a registered organization, or tell us about it.
Oh yes. Yeah, we went ahead, when we were on the raw Facebook, just doing our thing. People got captivated by the messages too, the teaching, especially we talk about it, how can they know. We had topics like what does it mean to be a Liberian. We had topic, we're talking about reconstruction or the realignment of Liberia. What's necessary? That was a topic that we talk about. We even talk about the knowledge of self. So, people started coming around like, oh, Ayiti, I want to be a part of you, because the goal, yes, we were registering this and that. But to answer the question, we are registered 501c3, and we all because we intend to go beyond just Malcolm X once said, he said, we can only talk the talk, we got to walk the walk. So we can't only be here, on social media just talking, using terms. Some people say, oh, look, my man, you Satya, you this and that. We want to make sure that while we're talking, at least the people need food to eat. Right, we can be talking all this. The people need food to eat and need clothes to wear. People lied to the people and told them that there's a place up there called heaven. So they have to live the heaven here. So we're talking, we want to make sure let them enjoy their life. Let them have, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, all that stuff. This is we're not only talking, but we want to make sure that we're walking the walk. So to answer the question, I'm going all over the place. I'm a little empty up. Yes, we are registered as a 501c3, and our website's in the works. Here locally in the great United States of America, we intend to also spread to Liberia. So the goal is not only America, like I said, diaspora globally. We intend to be everywhere, and we believe that back in the days, your community was more of a, say for example, I live in Liberia. My community was just my house, maybe somewhere to call Rubber Farm. If you live in Shoe Factory or community, but now the community, you have a whole spectrum of people because we do have social media. So I'm talking to the entire world, wherever Liberians are. In the trenches, who knows? Eventually, this idea, can spill outside even the Liberian community. People can gravitate to that concept of I am because we are registered as a 501c3 to answer that question.
Excellent. So still on the organization, somebody hearing you, they just got fired up, just hearts your fire up, and say, I like to be a part of something positive. I like to be a part of that group. How can they join the group? Is there room to join? How can they follow you? Tell us more.
Yeah. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Well, you, as you know, we are actually we were on Facebook, and now we have a YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. Instagram is coming up, and Twitter and all that stuff. So yes, you can follow us. Go it's WE2R Liberian, and then you can type in Ayiti Williams on YouTube. When we have our shows, we don't have a specific time where we come up. We do it as on a need basis or whenever we feel like it. But that's something we'll be working on because we have to make sure that our team, we have a group of people who have their personal obligations. So you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube and things else. So, all the social media, in addition to eventually, I know Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. And then also, we have our number here. We will, in subsequent time, we'll make it available. You can contact us. Definitely, like we said, we aspire to be the premier movement of the 21st century. And what we are targeting people who are socially and morally, conscientized. That's exactly what we want. So if you feel like our ideology or our mission, our vision align with that's exactly what we want to do. We want to have a conversation, and hopefully you can understand what we're saying. If it makes sense to you, definitely come. But this is about changing the mindset. We want to raise people to be independent, people to be empowered, to see themselves different and see the word different, enjoy this word, because the book says in Jeremiah 11:29 says that, for I know the plans that I have for you. While people suffer and die, and when he says that my plans for you is not to harm you, to prosper you and to bring you to an expected end. Your expected end is not for you to drink dirty water. Your expected end is not for you to live in the slum. Your expected end is not for you to go to the decrepit schools. Your expected end is not for you to suffer, don't have access to good health care. So those are the things we want you to know. Once you know that, then you set yourself up to be able to acquire those things, because at the end of the day, you're here. You're not a spectator. You come here to cultivate the earth, to replenish the earth, and to make an impact, so that when you go now, we're here. All we're doing, we're passing through. But we have to set the pace. And we have a mandate. For those of us who have come here, what we have to do, the people that are going to come behind, we have the mandate to make sure that they will come and exceed us. That's what we need to do. So we have to strive and make every effort to reach the mark. Hope I answered that question.
You certainly did. Thank you for sharing. And I've dropped the link in the comment section for people to watch it, to subscribe to your channel and follow the work that the organization is doing. So if anybody, the link is there. You can click on it, look at past videos, and just follow their activities. But I wanted to, because I've been watching a lot of the videos, and I wanted to talk about maybe 2 or 3 of them. I'll bring one up first. I think this is my best one. This one, how can they know until they have a teacher? The first question there, how do you come up with your topics? Because they're just mind blowing. So tell us what, if you don't need to give out your secret sauce, but just tell us a little bit.
No, I'll tell you, it's funny because that's an interesting question. How can they know until they have a teacher? I have a mentor, Dan Wilson. One time he called me and he's like, I follow your page, and those questions, those topics that you come up with, there's a spirit that passes around during the nighttime. They're dropping, they're giving it to you. To be honest, I'm sitting there like I'm a deep thinker, and I would sit there like, all right. So because most of the time, I think we'll always focus on the not the problematic, but the catastrophe. So after all this stuff happened, is when we start thinking about how we can solve the problem. But we need to start thinking about what's responsible for the catastrophe. So, and when I said that, I said, well, then I think the problem our people have definitely is because they don't. The reason why people are doing the things that they're doing, no one's there to teach them. Right. They don't have any teacher. So if like I said before, if you know that water dirty, you will not drink it. Right. If you know that car or that road is not built right, you won't drive on it. You know what I mean? But because our people don't know, so those topics, come from thinking, and sometimes God just dropped them in my spirit. And besides that, the things that I read the Quran, I read the Bible, and if you read the Bible and the Quran asks that question, but it's not in that form. How can they know until they have a teacher? So we have the teacher. So I think God bringing teachers our ways. And I want to say something, not to say that, we're trying, Jesus said something. He said, he was talking to his disciple, and he said, someone would say, oh, my man, but how are you just using scriptures here? I think it's important because the Bible is our moral is our spiritual compass. And Jesus said, he was talking to his disciple, he said, it's expedient that I go now, because if I don't go, the comforter won't come. He was speaking of another person. He was speaking of someone in the third person, because he was talking to his disciple. I'm not trying to compare us to Jesus or to God, but we are the guys. We are the small guys. He said he was leaving. He was talking about someone else. And that Jesus could be you, because you know what? There was one point in time in your life where you were down. You were low. So we have to see him not only in the noun form, that's the N-O-U-N, but see him in the verb form. Because you have people who come and they're Christ-like. So the thing, and that's why Jesus was talking about, I'm leaving, people will come. But because we overlook the people, the man will come, the man trying to teach you, the man trying to help you. You got people living, their eyes that can't see. You got mouth that can't speak, got ear you can't hear. And people there to teach you, to guide you, but you're not giving them the opportunity. So to go back to how the question come about, it's the same thing. It's about thought process. You're sitting there, you're thinking about, what is the strategy? How can we get to these people? So we believe that oh yeah, we teach them, then they will know. But if they don't know, then it's funny to say. There's another saying that says that what you don't know don't hurt. So the drinking dirty water, the air, you don't know, the breathing in bad air. You know, someone building the man builds his house or his well, his well that he drinks from is right next to a septic tank. And then if you look at the contour of the land, the septic drains into the where he drinks it, he gets sick, and he lies, says someone kill him and wish him, you know. So you really sit down and you think about it. That's the solution, or those will be the solutions to the problem Liberia has. Fundamentally, we need to go and address these things. You know, once we do that, we start helping our country. We'll have a whole different new Liberia around the sense, and Liberia will be better. So that's how those topics come about from thinking.
So somebody's listening and be like, okay, I want to know, but I don't know where I can find a teacher. You know, so where can they find a teacher?
You know, it's funny, Telly, because my little brother, when I started doing this, you know, he's been under my tutelage now for a while. And he says to me, oh, you know, what are you doing? You started a long time. Even a friend of mine told me, because he said, but Ayiti, how you know all these things? I really been doing my small reading, researching way back. So when it comes to having the conversation, they just come. They come naturally. So we've been doing it behind the scenes. And I think this is a perfect opportunity, you know, to use social media that people are using for the wrong reason. Somebody cursing somebody doing this and doing that, gossiping this and that. This is a perfect opportunity for us to spread the word. So we are spreading the word of God, but in a different way. You know what I mean? We're preaching this is the gospel. This is the true gospel. We're not hiding anything. You know, I was just listening to Cornel West, who is I call him a intellectual freedom fighter. He speaks truth to power, and on a very serious note, the education that we have, you know, you got cheap education, then you got something called idea. I think it's a Greek word, and because cheap education, you can graduate from Harvard University and still not be educated. You know why? Because you're not using your education to really empower the people. And the guy who is speaking truth, who emancipating these people, who opening the eyes of the people. You think when Jesus was talking about giving sight to the blind, you think was just literally giving something, but people got eyes can't see. So those are the things that we want to talk about. And this, seriously, after this show, I'm pretty sure somebody who will listen to this show will be inspired and say, you know what, I better pick up this mat or throw this mat away, because this is faith. We're speaking words into existence, and we believe that Liberia will be better. So I hope this also answers the question that you asked.
Certainly. So another video that stood out to me, another one, let me bring that. There's another one, for lack of knowledge, the people perish. You want to talk a little bit about this one? I know you probably kind of went there, but
obviously, definitely. It ties into how can they know until they have a teacher. And that's what I was saying. Mm-hmm. These are topics, you know what I mean? For lack of knowledge, the people perish, you can talk about it all year round. How can they know until they have a teacher? We could be talking about it for a long, long time. We live in a country where the continuous quality improvement. People are improving things. So a lot of things that happen in Liberia, they happen because our people don't know. The kid who, can you imagine a kid only wants to graduate high school, find some kind of way, even if you actually go to the university, but he wants to work at a bank and can't do simple arithmetic. The girl wants to be a college professor. She can write simple sentence. You understand what I'm saying? And then another thing that he wants to be representative, or he wants to be a minister, this and that, because this is what he's been taught. And then two, lack of knowledge, the people perish because we're not teaching them, we're not giving them knowledge, we're not exposing them. They're suffering. We have all the resources around us, everything that we need, but we are perishing because there's no knowledge. We've not been taught. We aligning ourselves with the wrong people. You know, you're standing on diamond, gold, and silver, but you extend your hand to the Western world for your salvation when you have everything that you need. So that's where, you know, this lack of knowledge, the people perish, comes from the Holy Bible, as well as the Quran. And these are things that I think that we really need to talk about. If our people are taught, our people are given the right information, you know, they're taught properly, they won't perish because of lack of knowledge, they're dying. For example, The man who will, you sick. Somebody got some kind of Tylenol, right? Tylenol, and they wrap it in the plastic. They're selling it. Aspiration, where it coming from, where it's not coming from, you don't know. You're taking it and they take it, and blessingly they survive it. But with you and me, will you take some kind of Tylenol that been in the sun and drink and swallow it? No. So for lack of knowledge, the people really do perish. And the reason why you want to continue to aspire to be better, because of knowledge, you're concerned, you want to add value to your life, you want to know the things that you do. You think if you had just been sitting there, you would be better? Your hands making provision for you. So for lack of knowledge, not to repeat what the topic is, it's simple, it's clear, the people continue to perish. So if we learn, but one thing, I want to talk about that for lack of knowledge, then I can close on it. Can you imagine nowadays, same thing, quality of children that we're producing? People don't want to work. People don't want to add value to their life. They don't want to endure. Muhammad Ali said one thing. He said, I hated every moment that I had to train, but I said to myself, suffer now and live the rest of my life a champion. So, you know what I mean? If we instead of to show yourself approved, those things are for lack of knowledge, the people perish. So you instead of to show yourself approved, how you survive? How you make it when you're supposed to go take an exam and pass, but you won't go spy, you won't cheat. It's a Liberian way to spy or cheat. So you're suffering as a result of the fact that you're not applying yourself. Go and get knowledge. We already made with that. We were born with knowledge. But we have to now try to tap into the acquisition of knowledge so that we can be better. So
I love it. Suffer now, enjoy later.
Yeah. Suffer now.
I'm taking a lot of
and live the rest of your life a champion.
Yeah, live it like a champion. I love it. Too many inspirational nuggets tonight. We've been talking about the organization for probably the last 30 or 20 minutes, but I want us to pivot a little bit and talk about your journey, talk about your untold story. Everybody got a story, but most times people just see the finished product and they don't get to hear the story. So I want to ask you about childhood, growing up. Were you if you care to share some of your upgrowing stories? Were you one of the kids that grew up with a silver spoon, as we say in Liberia? What was your journey like growing up?
So I think that's a good one, because the book again says that we overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. So the question that you're asking me now, maybe hopefully the interview or my testimony will kind of raise someone is down and can kind of they can pivot, that condition now. So I've been over if he. So just to fast track, I was born to the union of my mom is deceased. And my dad is in Ghanarsville. I have my other mom, people say stepmom, but that's my other mom, who was my big mom there. But I was not, it was a little bit dysfunctional, Like I said, Padilla, and truth, I speak in truth tonight, because I want nothing to take away from my upbringing or my dad or my mom, or my mothers and things like that. And one thing before I get into that, I want to thank everyone, the village of people that actually helped me to get to this place, because it took a lot of people, a whole village of people everywhere I went, even though if I was to go through but I was always helped by someone. Some people helped me to catapult me to get to the place. But one thing that really stood out was my humility. I'm always willing to work. I'm not too big to say this and say that. But fast track, I wasn't very, very happy with my upbringing. My dad was very straight on our academics. We went to good school, Semagas. I started out at the Ghanarsville there, Semagas School, kindergarten. That's the only school I went to until the Civil War. But growing up, I think 1990, I went behind the line, we would call it. So I did one semester at Colonna Mission. Colonna, right? Mm-hmm. I went to that mission and it was very good, because when I came back, I started doing very well in math and stuff. But there was a little bit of dysfunctional, structure going home, because one minute my grandma would go across the road to see my dad. Sometimes there was confusion, and I wasn't very satisfied. with my upbringing to an extent. The academic side, my dad made sure that it was something that he ingrained in us. We had study class teacher. He made sure we had books. He made sure our tuition was paid. He would provide us our. He was a very loving father. You know what I mean? He made sure that he kept us close, and school fee was paid. You know, we had lunch and all that study class. Hopefully, I don't repeat myself. But fast track. I always had that. There was some things in the home that I wasn't really satisfied with, and I cleaned grass around my house. I went for wood in the bush. I sell in the market. You know, did a lot of things. You know, wash clothes around the house, clean the house, mop the floor, just the ordinary, wash the pot. You know, all that stuff. But every time we went out, and when I stood out among my friends, you know what I mean, I did pretty well in school. I was not the guy who was first, second, third in the classroom, but I was on a roll. You understand what I'm saying? In spite of everything. I was very talented growing up. I used to like rapping, dancing. And so I think that's where this being bored to kind of speak. Well, I thought that I never had it. Yeah, but because I felt as though that in terms of how we lived in the house, that can be personal a little bit. I didn't like it. So I knew that I would stay. When I graduate high school, I'm gonna find my own way. Because I never had an elder brother who I could look up to say, "Oh, he's my mentor." That love and this and that. Yes, I never saw it on my mom's side, on my dad's side. Never really had that mentorship. Fast track, graduated. Same year I graduated. I remember we're doing because we took the national exam twice. First we took it in 96, 97, and due to the April 6th, we had a resit national exam. So the last day after national exam, I left. I think I left my house. I went to Banga and came back to my house with a whole big problem. I couldn't stay there, this and that. But so I told myself I would leave this house. So I did. I ran away from home. I ran away from right after national exam. My friend took a bus. He was one of the conductors on the bus. Took the Liberian. So he went on campus. He saw me. I said, "My man, I got to go Ghana with you. We got to go." And he says, my man, but you know this bus? I'm only a conductor on the bus, so there's no way. I said, "But man, I have to go. So is there any way you guys can help me when we get to Ghana? I will pay you guys." He said, "But we'll have to see how we can work it out." And so that night I went home. I already planned out everything. Already I never had anything because I went to see my mom in Banga. The little clothes that I had, it got stolen. So when I came back to Monrovia, I had this little problem with my dad and my family at home. So it was not really nice. And I took the risks that night. I had my uniform trouser on, the t-shirt, I had a plastic bag, nothing in it. My little brother escorted me. This story is being told for the first time. And because my dad was very upset with my little brother said he never knew. And hopefully this video is being televised so the world will see it. So we walked halfway down the street. I told him, I said, you don't go back home. I walked and went on Kesley Boulevard that night. Early that morning, I think it was about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we went looking town where they had the bus. To get on the bus, it was not easy. Everybody arguing, "Oh, he can't get on the bus. He doesn't have money, this and that." So I said, "You know what, I mean, please, I was staying. Let me just stand on the bus." Plus, I never had any travel document. But a friend of mine came from Ghana with his TC, which is the traveling document thing. I think they call it TC. So
like a laissez-passer kind of?
Yes. So I took a picture of mine that I had. I cut the picture. I stamped my picture in that book.
You are determined.
They were testing tonight. So I was traveling with a different name now. So I'm on the bus and I knew my dad's so possessive. That morning they agreed. I'm standing I stood on the bus from Liberia to Ghana.
Wow.
No money. And I forgot, when life gets better, sometimes you can forget about some of the
journey.
adversities you go through. So and this is a true life story for a young man who is giving up, believing in yourself, because it is possible. Your current condition does not determine your tomorrow. You can be anything if you put your mind to it. So I stood on that bus, no money, with the promise that when I get to Ghana, I will pay them. We luckily drove past Ghana's Junction, I would call it red light, and then we got to Kakata. Now we started getting to Banga. We crossed. I said I was free now. I said, "Oh, my dad," because my dad was fit. He said, "You see me on that bus?" Because I'm thinking, they said, "But why is Ayiti? We've not seen him, But anyway, fast track, we on that bus. I think I was begging people for water to drink because
Hmm.
I really never. In that part of this story, my friend who actually was the conductor on the bus when I was finishing grad school, he brought the story up and said, "Are
Hmm.
you strong? Remember that?" So
Hmm.
we got to Ghana. And I saw Ghana. I mean, the story is like the story of the children of Israel, right? That were in
Mhm.
Egypt. And when we got to Ghana, I said, well, man, know where I lived. I live in a house. My house was in a concrete house and everything. But when I went to Ghana, I said, where are we? He said, "Man, this is the place." So the next thing I started thinking about, I said, maybe I was better off back home. So yeah, and they had to go back to Monrovia because they ran the bus stop. So they went back, and I'm there. I was telling him, I said, no, I mean, I really want to experience difficulty. He said, my man, don't say that. And it happened. So life started getting tough. But I started going to this one church, the Methodist church, and started getting involved with some community engagement stuff. The school I started teaching, I was a TA teaching the elementary section with the Burundi Refugee School. The one teacher would allow me to go there and help out. So I started becoming new on the camp. I
Hmm.
would go sweep the church in the morning, and then I said the next thing, I need to be doing something. And so they had these technical schools, teaching building construction, carpentry. This is I enrolled myself there. When I enrolled myself, and this is where my career today now started from. So I enrolled
Hmm.
myself in the school. I started doing well with architectural drafting, construction. I became the president of the class, and I started teaching the same time because I like to talk about, like, when I read something, when I see people, even if you're not in my field of study, if you sit down with me, I'll bring that lecture and we start talking. I start giving insight. And the professor said, the teacher at the time, he said, "Oh, but then you're going to be my aide." So I became his aide. I became very good with laying brick, setting up how to acquire a plot, how to set up the building, everything. And fortunately, I graduated. Then I went to another tech school with the building construction. So then I'm in this church. I became the choir president. I was actively involved. I was some kind of secretary in the church. Everybody knew me. And I'm walking out the door this one day after fasting and praying. So I don't have no family because I had written my dad. I wrote my mom that I was sorry. I wanted to go back, this, that, and the other. So my dad didn't write me back.
Hmm.
My mom wrote back. She
Oh.
wrote back the content of a letter. She said, "My son, you can't come back. You
Hmm.
gotta go because I can't afford to take care of you. And
Hmm.
all along, your dad, he's the man in charge. So
Mhm.
you just gotta find a way."
Yeah.
And I tell you not, tell you that. By then, my friend left now. He went back to
Hmm.
Morocco because life was tough in Ghana. I'm skipping some stuff, fast track. So
Mhm.
I'm in Ghana, and I cried that day. I lived in a room with no window, a small room, my legs long. I can't even close the door.
Ah.
So I cried, I cried, and I say, you
Hmm.
know what? This is it. I don't have no family no more. I got to keep going. So my goal and objective was to
Hmm.
go to Ghana, to Nigeria, and before that whole thing with the school stuff. So the fact that my mom, the letter came, and that content of the letter was, "You got to keep pushing." That was a turning point for me. I felt
Hmm.
like, I don't have no one but the man up and myself.
Mhm.
So I'm walking out the church, fast track, and this lady sees me. She says to me, "Oh, where are your family?" I said, "I don't have no family." And she said, "Well, I mean, come to my house. I have an opportunity to travel to the States. I want to talk to you about it." Long story short, I went to her house. She said, "I will taking you to America." That's how I came to this country. I came to this country
Amen.
as a refugee,
Amen.
and when I came, I said, I mean, I'm pursuing construction, something in construction. And the fact that I came to the Philly area, everybody was heavily involved into human services.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I started working in human services, but I started going to the community college where I came with no high school credentials. Even though I graduated in Liberia, I had to change and everything. So when I got here, I had to go to sit for some kind of exam. But I did very well in the exam, so I started college. And I did my 2.5 years, got my associates in construction, applied science construction technology. I got that, and then I said, you know what? I think I'm going to pursue a degree in civil engineering. That's that year when I had my associate. I had a whole lot going on in my life because when I was younger, I used to play
Mhm.
around, but I took my school serious. So I started having some hurdles along the way. I went to Temple University. I did a couple of semesters there. I dropped. Finally, when I was ready to go back to school, I went to Widener Private University, fast track, where I graduated with a bachelor's in civil engineering. It was not easy. It was a tough journey, but I was able to overcome those challenges. I finished, and then after that, everybody was like, you went to school for engineering, you block, you never gonna find a job in that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was told that many times in the community, but so I branched off. I started selling cars. I used to go hustle cars, and I was still working that. But then one day, I said, what happened? This job that I work, I used to work uh, uh, human service. I said, I'm quitting this job. I'm not going to wait until I find a job before I'm quitting this job because my job. They used to talk about, oh, God, this smart guy. But when you get to trying to promote me, and I said, no, I just want to be at a mediocre level. I'm okay. I don't want to get comfortable, and then I will not pursue my dream. So in fact, when I did my resignation, the supervisor at the time, he said, "You sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yes, that's what I want to do." So I was looking at the map. I wanted the mattress. You know what I mean? I wanted to jump up and get a bed and I move it from the map to get. They got to give away the map. You got to give away
Right.
the mattress. You know
So
what I mean?
just masters, right? I love
So
it.
I started applying for job heavily. I left the job. I started applying. I got into real estate investing. So I used to go out, find property. I talk to the people, act like, oh, I want to buy the house. So I would secure it. And someone who has the money, I would put it on a 30 days contract and then get some money. So I started doing that. And then luckily for me, I had my first opportunity in New York. I had a job with the MTA, I think, in New York Transit Authority.
That's already, yeah.
Yeah, I went there. I mean, it was a good salary, but then it was so expensive to live there. So I had to decide. And right in that time, then I had another offer here in Pennsylvania. It was a small job. I said, I want to start small because with the degree, I was wondering. I said, what do I know? And the job they were offering me was that big position because of the interview, the way I responded. I was a little bit frightened. So I said, let me start small. Then I can work my way up. So I started out, doing with a township. And once I started doing that job, I had an opportunity with the Pennsylvania Turnpike as a consultant. So I started working in my field, as a civil engineer. I was an inspector for a year or so. In fast track, I can talk all the stuff that happened. Then I move on from one company to another. But a lot of things happened because when I got on the turnpike working there was a problem. The company I was working for, they were, giving kickbacks to these government officials. So they took the contract from them. And I was an inexperienced guy who went there. Everybody was at that level. You had to sit for an exam. Luckily, I wanted to sit for the people exam. They got 4 in highway. I took the test. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, I was a novice and took that test. Came home, my result came. I went straight from level 1. I went straight to level 3.
Wow.
Yeah, blessingly, I went to level 3. God was working. And so they took the project from those people. And then another company came, had the testimony too long. So I was like, I think this is it for me because I'm the guy here who has the least experience. I went home that day, I was so afraid. The next day I went to work. They had to bring two other firms to get because a lot of the projects you see, they're the federal projects, but they give them out to these consultant firms. So, but I like construction so much that I go there, I read the specs, I read the special provision, I ask questions. I will go into work on the days I'm off. I mean, I do my own reading. So when they ask me some questions, the people that have been in the industry, they knew the field stuff. But I would just say some stuff and then so I did that. I was lucky. I move on. I work on the island, as a project manager in Puerto Rico for some time. And then I got transitioned to the Virgin Island where I stayed too. I worked there as a project manager, technical inspector. They didn't even know I'm sitting home. I just get this call. Oh yeah, we saw your resume. We said we like you. We need to see 2 weeks. I'm on that side. I'm flying. and I'm there. So God really worked things out. And then
Mhm.
I fell sick there. I came back to the States. Yet and still, I kept moving up, kept moving up, kept moving up. And in Pennsylvania, I'm in Virginia, I'm working in Massachusetts, I'm working all over the country now. And then it got to a point where I was about to leave Rollway, I get in on bridge, and I and right now I work for a firm in New Jersey, doing these huge bridges, been around for 100 years and this and that, all over the place. But yeah, so it has been a journeying. I have no words to express. And what I took from there, I said, but then the knowledge I have acquired, let me now, I think it's time for me to kind of give back. So
Mm.
I said, but then when I do my show, I will do some presentation, I'll do some teaching. I can't go in depth with some technical stuff, but I can give a synopsis so people can understand. So when I come up there, you see, I do my lecture, talk about reconciliation, then I will branch off and talk a little bit about. But that's the journey. God has blessed me so much. So I feel that that's all I do. I go around, I sometimes share story with people. I see people and I encourage them, let them know that it is not over until it is over. You just
Right, right.
you can't give up. You're not your last name. You're not your family back. You're not your family. The book says that greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. So you just
Mhm.
gotta believe in yourself. You have the ability to say, let there be, and there would be, to speak things into existence. So that's my philosophy. I think I took that. This is why I'm translating now into the talk show. So that children who giving up won't believe. People in my community don't know. They didn't know what I was doing. I do what the Bible says. You know what your right hand does, the left hand's not supposed to know about
Mhm.
it. So
Mhm.
everything that's happening now, it's been something that I've been doing in the back. It's just coming up to light. So that's just a little bit about my story, and I want to, to encourage some young man or some young woman. Maybe you're giving up. You think it's over. You don't have to worry. Sometimes you have to take risks. You don't have to see it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you step out of the box, and this is what we are doing. You know, God, you can't drop from the sky. We had to come through our parents, but we cannot blame our people for things that's the channel and the way in which we came. But when we hear, then we hear. One of my shows to talk about the knowledge of self. It took the sperm to meet the egg. Until that, the man who did that is programmed. Take any filter, sperm and egg, put it together. You have a person.
Mhm.
So it ain't got nothing to do with nobody. I understand that. Oh, your parents are supposed to do this and do that, but don't be in the position of being the hobby of trying to blame people for your condition. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. God will put people. God will take someone that is holding a door and put someone there to open that door for you to walk through. So that's just a little bit about myself, and now I am transitioning into some other things. Starting my small consultancy. I have the platform going, and we'll talk about how the platform got to this point. How we encounter our host tonight. So that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Wow. What a beautiful, though emotional, but what a beautiful story. I hope that, you can tell this story more and more, especially to the younger generation, all the time, every time. It's just a story that need to be told over and over. So thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Um, I want to go deeper into your career. I know you mentioned a civil engineer. I want to go. I listened to one of your shows where you talk about the roads, something about roads in Liberia and stuff like that. So let's talk about the roads, the bridges in Liberia. Do you think they're all to par?
Oh well, that's something that I think ever since it's funny, my last year in school, did a steel bridge design team. So roadway, I always been something that I wanted to road and bridge. A lot of people don't know there are two different things:
Mm.
roadway construction and then bridge construction. Now, to answer your question about our roads in Liberia, in the first place, I I don't think that when it comes to our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, there's no standard. Someone would say, I either don't say that we have standard, but for what I have seen over the years, since I knew myself, our roads in Liberia, I don't know if their standards of roles, as far as looking at the country, I would think that the department itself will be talking about having their roadway classified. And what do I mean by that? Since we do have Liberia is a country, it's not like the United States. So we can have our national roads, we can have our inter-county roads, since we have county, and then we have a municipal road. I feel as though when I've heard the public works minister speak, they just talk about feeder roads and they talk about this road, but I don't hear them talking about standards of roads. I don't really hear them talking about the specifications, our special provisions. I don't really hear them talking about, because this is what we will hold the contractors that we are giving our projects to. We can hold them accountable. In one of my shows, or maybe series of the shows, I talked about the Bible, which is the specifications that we should pen. The department should sit there and pen. Let's forget about even building, because that will come later. If we can sit back and then put together fine specifications for our national roads, and then we classify our roads, right? We have national road, we have inter-county road, and then we have our municipal roads. Then we already have those standards. Then we can just sit down. We write these specifications that actually depicts how these roads are to be built. Then we put together bulletins, because the roads owned by the department, by the country, especially the national road, even the inter-county road, are owned by county governments. Then you got the municipal roads. So it will be smaller roads that smaller cars will plow, but then our national roads will be the roads that you got big trucks. So to answer your question, I don't think, roadway is not only limited to just driving on the road, but we also need to make sure that the road safety. So we're talking about our guardrails, we don't hear them talking about that. Our traffic signs, you don't really hear them talking about that. Even just you driving motorists, they need to be informed as they drive. So when it comes to the roadway, it's not just limited to just driving on the road. All of the roads that you hear them talking about, they're resurfacing those roads. Those are maintenance work. But we're talking about new road construction, where we're building the road from scratch. But if we put the standard together, like I said, then all the department will have to do to train her in-house staff. Two things the department can do. You write your specification, put your specific provisions together. We have our in-house design team design our road. We said these are the standards that we'll use. So, for example, we say that, okay, we're building a bridge. The bridge, like I said on some of my show, bridge has several components. It has the superstructure, you got the parapets, you got the wing walls, you got this and that. And all of those components of the bridges that I just talked about, whether it's let's just say it's a concrete bridge, those members, they got different classification of concrete if it's a concrete bridge. So then we narrow it to our construction material. But what are they holding the contractors to? Anybody can build anything. So what standard are you holding the Chinese contractor that came to Liberia? What standard are you holding him to build your bridge? If you don't have any standard, any specification, any drawing, the standard drawings, we're supposed to say they're coming. These are the drawings that you will use to build our roads. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. These are for example, you have, if you drive on the road, you will see here in America they have AASHTO, it's the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. Then you got the HW Highway Administration. Then you have I guess it's National Highway and Transportation Official. So then they have the standard, the American standard of testing for testing material. You know what I mean? For concrete, for coarse aggregate, which is the cross rock, for fine aggregate, your sand. So all the things that come from life, even the soil, they have to be tested. So those are the things that we need to set up first. Then we can say, okay, these are the standard. Then we train our inspectors, we train our in-house staff, we send them to follow. Even when we go to bed, we have put together standards, and they will be able to build based on the standard. And what we need to do to also to have quality control, besides our in-house staff, we can have agencies, testing agencies, or consultants that will go there to make sure that what we're paying for is what they are putting down. But the fact that we don't have those things in place, we don't have it in place, until on a very serious note, someone will say, oh, we have it there. Who monitors these roads? What are you holding the contractor to? My little brother in Liberia, he has a small firm, and we be talking I'm supposed to go and see them. And these are the things that we went to meetings and I proposed these things. And he was really excited. You have an asphalt firm that's coming to Liberia. The department is supposed to have bulletins. They're supposed to have the plans, designated plans to say, this is the asphalt that we want. Asphalt is a combination of aggregates. They got I think explosive distillation of crude oil, all that stuff in the asphalt cement. They put all together to form the asphalt. It comes from the plant. So when we're doing these mix, they call it job mix formula. People should be there to say, okay, this is the mix that we want. So when they're taking it from the site and they take it to from the plant and they take it to the site, we need to have people there. When it's being placed, we need to have people there. We need to core sample them. We need to take them to the lab. We test them. They can do simulation so that the same way the material will act on a loading condition on the roadway, we can test it in the lab to know, and then we can know the actual of the trucks that will be using these roads. So to answer your question, I don't think we are not there yet. Somebody would say, I think you're going too far. But the reason why I'm saying this, Terry, because it's important that this is a strategic plan for 20, 30 years from now. Let's sit down. It goes back to how can they know until they have a teacher, because they don't know. The guy, the public works minister, I saw him boasting on Spoon Talk. I had to go and make a video. He denigrated the engineers. Those guys are asking a question, or do you think that I'll pivot a little bit. They're asking a question, do you think that a civil engineer, public works minister would be preferable, or you will be able to do the work? And he said, oh no, I'm able to do the work because there was stuff that happened at the department of public works, and I was the one who came and fixed it in the first place.
Is he a civil engineer?
He's not. He's not. But he works. He's been working at the ministry for some time, and I think they need someone who has the experience. I'm not looking for a job. I didn't go to make video because I'm looking for a job. No, I'm not looking for a job. I will not go to Liberia. But I love the country, and I think what kind of people we want to be? Those are the questions. When you ask the question, plenty of things coming into my head. So to answer the question, I don't think that we're ready. When you hear the money, they're talking about $20 million out of that money to build roads, $50 million money to build roads. No, even a 1 mile road based on the depth of the road. Based on the road widening. So it depends on the depth of the road. It depends on the class of the road. So until we can sit down and design, and pen our specification that we can hold these people to. And not only that, Telvi, we need to train our craftsmen. We need to train our plumber. We need to train our electrician. We need to train. So when we train these people, and then we have accredited body that will certificate them. So when we do that, we're about to create some kind of middle class, because what will happen? We said the guy who is going to build a house or build a road, they can even bring the construction material and put it down because he's being paid good. He's not stealing the material. So there's a lot of stuff. As I was trying to propose something to call, I don't know, I'm taking it too far, but something to call the Ayiti Williams prevailing wage rate. Where we hire these guys when they go to school, we certificate them. Say, for example, plumber in Liberia, we'll pay you $15 US an hour, right? Or $20 US. Someone will say, well, why are you paying $20? Well, you know what the work the guy's about to do. If you pay him $5 and you got your construction material, then he will steal it and carry it. But if you pay him $30, he's able to take care of his family, this and that. And then what we'll do, we'll not stop there. Just because we see you paying $30, we'll hold your company accountable. We'll make sure we'll have people to come and do random interview, ask them and say, look, how much you getting paid? You understand? Oh, you know what I mean? Because we'll have a bulletin and say, oh, the plumbers will get paid this. And then if you don't get paid, you know what I mean? We can't give you the job.
Right.
So now when you know that, you know what I mean? You're not seeing the man to say, I know James, foolish James, I'm not paying him $20. But you know what? James married the $20 because he is a certified electrician, or plumber, or paver. So to answer the question, those are some of the things, strategies that we need to put in place. And until we do that, we're playing games. The bidding oil in the alleyway, so the breaking people down. We need to leave the city. In fact, we need to build new cities. We need to build new roads. The country Monrovia is congested. Yeah. We need to leave there and start building, have strategic plan how we can, so that we can have quick mobility. People can be able to move goods and services around. He said, I mean, we'll boost the economy. So, but just to answer the question, I'll be going all over the place. I wouldn't stop talking.
No, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. No, I love it.
I think no, we're not making. They just resurfacing these roads. Yeah. This is resurfacing them. They're not doing good. I follow some of the roads in those counties like Granger there. I always see them to apply the road. I have a big brother friend of mine who is an engineer. I think he went to school in Nigeria. I respect him a lot because he taught me in Ghana. So we exchange roads as we exchange notes every once in a while. And I say these things. What we need to do, the government needs to invest in laboratory equipment. We need to have labs there. And then when these companies, so for example, now that we don't have the trained staff to do it, no problem, we can outsource our job. But these people should come and allow them to also train our people. Eventually, then we empower people. They will be the contractor. Then we can eventually leave the people. Because someone asked me the question once, do you think Liberia engineers are able to build the roads? For now, they may have the know-how, but because we don't have the technology, we may not able. But if we are strategic, some of the things I'm talking about, we can do these things. The money that one representative taking $20 million, stealing it, investing into our people, the human capacity. Right. Eventually, then the output will be great. We'll be having our smaller contractors. We'll be having roller. We'll be having everything that we need to make sure we can have a nice finished product. That whatever we have on the plan, when they build the road, it looks exactly like what's on the plan. The reason why your house is twisted, because they don't have the proper equipment. They don't train these people, so the men do a mediocre job. If you're not going to build, don't build right. The reason why I don't have a house in Liberia, I'm not going to allow anybody to go and build something that's not right. I can't build my house on the slump. Right. Then you're not building right. So the roads, to answer the question, the roads, no, Telvi, not to condemn anyone, but I know for a fact, you know what I mean? And they intimidate it. With this kind of conversation, we intimidate the minister. He won't like it. He's doing a fine job, you know what I mean? But I think let them give this thing to experienced people so that Liberia can look at the roundabout that people built. You saw the drainage?
Yeah, I saw it, but I don't know much about roads, so I just kind of thought. But what I do know is that even some of the roads they were constructing, even from Malasteli town, they would build the road, a year or two, and the road is all messy again. So obviously, they're not putting enough time and effort to what they're doing. I know that for sure. So
and after that, the one thing about building roads is not only limited the drainage. You got to take into account with drainage. And another thing I'm going to talk about, which I know we can get there, our aquatic organism, our streams, we're polluting them because what's happening too, all these construction materials, the spill, the drainage, they don't do proper drainage calculation. Go see the slope, the grade. The people put stuff all in the drainage, so you have backups. So there's a lot of things to consider. I'm telling you. All they're doing, the resurfacing the roads. They're not really building roads. It is the quality. The quality is one thing. Their roadway alignment. How do you build a road? How do you resurface a road? Here, you go and come back. The next day, somebody drive on it or something. Because, in fact, just even if they were doing some kind of maintenance, roadway, when it comes to asphalt, it has the two types of pavement that I know that's very popular, which is the rigid pavement, and then you have the asphalt pavement. Rigid pavement will have it's the reinforced concrete. They have rebars and all that chairs. You can see them when you drive. You live in Texas, so you will see it a lot. Mm-hmm. They build it all over the place because of international standard. Then for the asphalt has 3 layers. You have the base, you have the intermediate course, and then you have the wearing course. So I was asking the guy there. I said, so how these roads? What are the layers? And he said, oh my man, we just put one down. So that's exactly what's happening. You put that one base, so you don't have the intermediate course, and then you don't have the wearing course. Go and see how the people build their road. That base that will come, the way it's compacted, we're testing it. Then it will come the next day, maybe I'll put the intermediate. That wearing course is the final course that you drive on to give that smoothness. So when they do that, also they come and test the rideability. Then they do the core sample. These things are going to the lab. If it's not good, the contractor, you taking everything out or you don't
Wow.
get paid. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know, and you're plenty in trouble. So you
Mhm.
see how what we're talking about. It's not just living,
Accountability.
yeah, you know. So
Mhm.
that's
Wow.
the thing about going on
That's,
on one time.
that's
Well,
very deep. No, this is very deep. So, two questions for you though. You think Liberia is going to get there? First question.
no, let me tell you, no doubt, no doubt. You know, same way. The question you ask me, someone asks, so, well, why do you think at the time, you know, I started doing this, and what do you think Buckeye is the right candidate, this and that? And my response to your question, now that you're asking that, you know, I've decided the We2 movement. We've decided to choose optimism over cynicism.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we believe strongly that it's only a matter of time, and that's why we want to build the new Liberia from the standpoint where we're building up the younger generation, because those are the people we need to attack. If we attack those people, if we create a philosophy, an ideology, they're gonna run with it. And then when they run, because the different love, that the reason why America created a philosophy. The people love their country. See the
Mm-hmm.
soldiers, see the
Right.
kids.
Right.
They're
Right.
committed to it. They want this country to be better. Myself, where I work at sometimes, I said, but they're spending too much money on this person watching over this and this person, but they're doing this check and balance. So I do believe with this kind of mindset, you know what I mean, about changing our people mindset, you know, I believe strongly that even it will be a gradual change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it will be a gradually, you know, the book says that weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the
In the
morning. And
morning.
if we're not patient, then we will not achieve that our goal and objective. But I think if we are strategic, we are patient. Like I said, if we choose, you know, optimism over cynicism, definitely Liberia will be better.
I love it. I love it. So, you mean obviously you're a subject matter expert in road construction and everything around construction, and you're passionate about what you do. You know, it's hard to find that combination. Have you had a chance to talk to somebody, the head of public works in the previous government or this government, to just kind of change notes and ideas?
Well, now that I'm on the platform, and I know you don't want to announce this, but I'll be in Liberia at some point. You know, the platform too, the awareness that we created, we're hoping that, you know, someone will see it and will say, you know what, I think, oh yeah, well, we can you know, invite him, we can lecture, and then because, but like we're saying, we're not. I have no political ambition. I have no aspiration for their jobs. What I want is I have an opportunity to be in the private sector. So definitely, you know, I am looking forward to that, because where else can we go? Tell me about it. And I
Mhm.
think we have the conversation before behind the scenes. There are many of us here.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? There are
Mhm.
many of us here. But I think would be better in our country if we can go there and give back, and if they will allow us and give us the space to contribute. Definitely, I would definitely want to be there to make sure that everything that I'm talking about, I'm very passionate about it. I hope that someone is listening and will provide some kind of space and opportunity to say, you know, oh yeah, and let's make it happen. You can come and talk, you know, to our people. And not only talk like we're saying, we just don't want to keep talking this talk. I can sit here and talk all this, but if they will not allow us, we shouldn't be intimidated. You
Right.
know, the people that are there. And that's why the same thing, we too are Liberians. We are all the same. You
Mhm.
understand? So if they give us the opportunity to go there, and we definitely would like to give back, and that's why we want to do our own stuff. We want to sample some of our stuff. We can put an exhibit, people can see and showcase it. If you come to try it, like you would try some of our product. You know what I mean? You would try it, and then if you like it, definitely you go for it. So that's our goal and objective, and we believe strongly that definitely it's going to happen. Uh, we can die for this. We can go. We definitely no joke. I'm not playing. So yes, to answer your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, this is rich. So we yeah, we talk about the road construction. We talk about your journey, the untold journey, the really journey that ever brought tears in my eyes. I don't cry easily, but hearing some of that brought tears in my eyes. We talk about the schooling, but one
Well,
thing.
no, I wanted to tell you. I didn't tell you that. So
Mm,
I finished my undergraduate, and I went to pursue a master's. Keller Graduate School and project management. And also, once I got done, I had a little bit of problem, and I said, I got to go to, I want terminal degree. So when I did apply to do my doctoral in project management. So I applied, I was accepted, I started, and around the same time I started, my mom passed away. Did very well the first semester. Same thing, project management. All my emphasis in railway. It's funny, even grad school was so easy because most of the professor, everything I write in my projects. I had 2 weeks of everything. It's funny, and I could give my paper, and they would just let me just go, and then we talk about.
And they love it.
So yes, I would say that I'm in pursuit of a doctoral degree, a terminal degree in project management at the Liberty University. But I don't like to talk about it because of the people that I work around. So I always hide my stuff. I used to be at work, even when I was going to grad school. I'll be at work, and I would just kind of sneak and then go to school. So and then when I was graduating, in fact, I invited my boss. He was like, "Really?
When did you
go to school?" Yeah, but I used to kind of sneak, and then I would go to class. And then I was graduating. He attended my graduation. So yeah, that's so there's no stop. There's no stopping. Hopefully, we intend to finish that. We were supposed to be done a couple of years ago, but things happen, so we decided to take time off. But what we believe too, one thing we believe here is that having all the degree is nothing. You know what I mean? It's what you do with it, and that's what we say. It take your education from theory to bring it into practice. So it doesn't matter where you become. You don't need a PhD. You don't need a bachelor. You don't need. Ralph Emerson said in a lecture back in 1871. He said, "If a man can write a better book, preach a better sermon, or build a better mousetrap than his neighbor, even if he builds his house in the wood, the word is going to make a beaten path to his door." Dr. King concluded by saying, "If you cannot be a tree, be a bush. Can't be a highway, be a trail, but would be the best version of whatever you choose to be."
Amen. I love it. Man, this is so thought-provoking. So before we draw down the curtains, I just because the movement is in the business of people, and condition of minds, and not in the business of empowering people and hustlers.
No.
Want to talk about some things that have been trending in our communities globally. Women insulting each other of all ages. Men too insulting each other. Just misbehaving on social media far from the intended purpose. Any word for them? Any advice? For them?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I know. I just want to. I can use not to. I use one example. I know months back there was especially those who were up there. Our brother Costa Stenton. They had a little scaffold one time, and then I had a show where at the conclusion of the show, I cautioned them not to. We cannot allow the things of this world, to carry. Unfortunately, the same thing. How can they know until they have a teacher? The reason why people go on social media, think about where I was created to connect us. We cannot use this. People using it to monetize it, right? People making money off of it. This is some people full-time job. This is something that people are using to really improve the quality of their life. Why would we use this medium? This is someone's creation, and that's why, not to divert. The same way someone created Facebook, social media was not built for the purpose, the intended purpose that we're using it to humiliate, to insult, to bring people down. If you go to the scripture, and the scripture used for us to make correction, to rebuke, redirect, and this and that. I think we should use it for the same purpose. So I would try to, caution our brothers and our sisters. I can't. We're all work in progress, and I'm not perfect. So I just pray that, especially because people, and the thing about it, people, the younger generation are more attracted to negativity. You see someone who has a negative platform, and when they start talking, they have 1,000, 2,000 people, and you wonder why. But you come there with something of substance, something that will elevate the mind, something that will promote enhance, the lives of people. People don't care. Like we talk about, we're not in the business of manufacturing players, pimps, and hustlers. This is what the people are doing, even on the social media, because they use the platform. Those people are raising thousands of dollars, and you will go there with something of substance. A friend of mine just opened his private practice, and he had a an event, like an opening event. I MC the program. How many people went there? What contribution he got? You know what I mean? That could have been on social media, but we're using this medium to tear ourselves down. You know, I'm not supposed to be humiliating my brother. I'm not supposed to be humiliating my sister. We're not supposed to be using it. We have lost our culture and our tradition. We never did this before. You know, you never saw, you know, a younger person insulting an older person. Not like that. And because it was more like, and that's why, you know, we'll go back to that African proverb that say that it takes a village to raise a child. But if the child is crazy, if the village is crazy, you know, what kind of children the village will produce? Crazy children. So this is what's happening on social media. So what we want to say to them, we are, like I say, that we are all work in progress, you know, but we're encouraging them that we are the example, and they are the example. Once you get up here, you start being on social media, you some kind of influencer. Use this instrument to improve the lives of people, to better of yourself, you know, and to make so that we can make not only Liberia, make our world a better place, but to narrate to Liberia. I think that's exactly what we need to do. So moving forward, I would say to all of those, even the young brother, Richmond, when he and his wife had that situation, I made a show for him, you know, and was encouraging people to pray for him. It was up to him, you know, I mean, to see how he could kind of bridge the gap. But I think that our people are using this medium for the wrong reason. So let's pivot our attention from, or our actions from, negativity to something positive.
Awesome. So before we draw down the curtains, I'm going to pull the phone number up for people to call in. Just probably about 5 minutes. If we don't have any call, we'll have some parting comments, and then we'll call it a night. We know the night is fast spent, and we all got to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the number to call is 469-674-3668. You're calling with your comments, you're calling with your criticism. We ask that you just be respectful if you're going to criticize. And you can call in, you know, and ask the guest some questions. Question about the organization, question about construction, question about anything, you know, his journey, his story, you know. So this is your opportunity. Again, the link is there. We ask you to subscribe to his channel. WE2R Liberian. If you just type in the search engine on YouTube, it's just a WE2R Liberian. It was going to come up. Looking up on Facebook, follow him, follow his teaching. They're rich. Obviously, you can follow me. I go by Telvi. I share his stuff too, so you can follow me. You'll see his stuff on my page, on my nonprofit page. You can subscribe to our About You channel. You can subscribe to our nonprofit channel as well, Elaborate Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Nonprofit. You can subscribe to that as well. And of course, while we're waiting for calls, I got to put this sales pitch in. Most people know that I'm a graphic designer. So if you want any kind of graphics work, reach out to me. We can make it happen. We're not the best, but we can make it happen.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
We can make it happen. You know, if you want to build your platform like what you see now, we can make it happen at a very, very reasonable price. Yeah, if you want to do videos, whatever, you know, all things graphics, we can make it happen. You know, so I will just wait for probably another 2 minutes for somebody to call. If no call, but we can still be talking. You know, is there anything that I left out that you want to touch on, that you want the audience to hear while waiting for a call?
Yeah. No, maybe one last thing, and I want to thank you for the opportunity again, for allowing me in your space, and to be able to share this platform with you this particular time. And you know, I know I have something that I left out. Today the platform, you know, elevated to YouTube channel and all that stuff was through your instrumentality. You saw you acknowledged the method, the teaching, and you wanted to make sure that we take it from that level and you know, to take it to another level. So we appreciate it. We don't take it lightly. We know that your gift will make room for you. And so, and we will go out there and spread the word too, and let people know that not only that you're doing the work, but the quality of work that you do. You know what I mean? It's unmatched. And we are very grateful, no words to express.
Thank you.
And we don't want to use a lot of satire here tonight.
No, we need satire. We need ABC language.
No, we use satire now. Did I use a lot of satire? No
satire to that. We're going to
I think everybody can understand, right?
Right. Third grade level. Yeah, third grade, fifth grade level. That's the max. Yeah. But we're not going to waste any further time. I don't think we have a call here. And so I will let you wrap up. And in your closing, you can, talk about anything else that you think you want to reinforce or anything we left out. So this is your turn.
All right. It's great to be on the About You. Again, I'm Ayiti Williams as I conclude, founder and visionary of the WE2R Liberians movement. I'd like to conclude by saying that the WE2 movement is not in the business of manufacturing players, pimps, and hustlers. Rather, we're in the business of changing and revolutionizing the thought process of our people. And so we hope that you follow us on Facebook, on YouTube. We look forward to, being a part of whatever you're doing. But we strongly believe that, the condition and the mindset of our people, if it's changed, the things around them will change. So that's it for tonight. It was great being here. Telvi, once again, thank you very much for having me. You have a great and a very pleasant night. Look forward to maybe being
okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Give me food, give me clothes, give me love, and give me shelter. Well then, no for